This is the beginner's guide to Serato DJ Pro. If you're looking to boost up your DJ skills real quick, you came to the right video. My name's Andrew Lindley, representing the DJ Connect, and we're gonna hop right into this video. If you guys didn't see my last video on how to really set up Serato DJ Pro, get started, make sure you go check out that video first. I'm gonna drop the link below. That one goes over everything, how to get yourself set up, how to really get started. This one, we're gonna dig into the program a little bit more. I'm gonna show you guys a few tricks that you might want to set up, some of the settings that you're gonna want to have enabled. We're gonna really get down into the nitty gritty. So if you don't know anything yet, I would suggest go check out the beginner's guide first. This is more like step number 2. Once you're a little bit confident in the program, this is how you can start DJing like a pro, setting your crates up like a killer. Let's jump into it right now. Let's go. Okay, so first thing off the hop, once you get in here, hopefully you got some music already. You should be here. This isn't the first video. This is the second video. We're gonna jump into the settings. So up here, there's a lot of settings that you might wanna have on. Definitely enable hot queue. You got sort queues chronologically. So if you have a bunch of queue points, it's just gonna literally sort them for you. It's not something that I use because sometimes I got random queue points, but for a lot of people, it's gonna be good. Lock playing deck, if you're someone who loads the wrong track a lot, that's a really important setting that you might want to have on. This happens to me a lot too, but I still have never enabled it. Like, I don't care. If it happens, it happens. We're DJing. It just kind of shows people that, yeah, I am here. I am DJing live. One you want on is auto gain. Make sure you have auto gain enabled. Quantize value. This would be if you're going through kind of like doing a lot of stuff yourself manually, you're going to want to have your quantize on. Quantize just means back in the day when you had real bands playing music, time was never like 1, 2, 3, 4. It was never on the grid. Quantizing is putting the music on the grid. So if you had music back in the day that trailed off, it was a live band, and it was like your BPM kind of varied. Quantizing is making it so everything is on the grid. Nowadays, everything is already on the grid, but back in the day, it wasn't like that. So if you don't know anything about how music used to be, you're gonna have some issues when you start mixing real original tracks. I have beat jump controls enabled. Some people use it. I don't really use it, but I have it here just in case. Rest of this, play from start is really important. Instant doubles is just going to, if you load the same track on the other deck, it's going to double it up. I'll show you guys a demonstration of that once we get there. Plays from first cue point. That's one that I always have enabled. Analyze stems. This is if you have a good enough computer. If you're having any issues at all, I would probably turn this off. Stems is fun, but it's not the end all be all. In the club, it's really hard to use because on a big system, you can really hear the imperfections. So stems, it's really fun. I love using it. I love playing with it, but it's just a tool. Do not butcher your set. Do not have your computer crash because you wanted to use stems. Just get rid of stems, period, and that's it. Turn off effects. I believe this is if you're loading a new track, it's just going to turn the effects off. It's not an issue that I ever have with my Rev 7, but if you have another controller where like sometimes your effects are always enabled, you're going to want to have this so it turns it off before it loads that new track. And apart from that, you should be good. Sync, I'm not going to get into this. I really recommend learning how to beat match without sync at the start. All you're doing is putting training wheels on that you're never going to want to take off. So I really recommend learning how to beat match. And if you're struggling with that, I have tons of free videos on YouTube. Or if you're watching this video right now when it drops, I'm doing 50% off coaching for my birthday because I've been on YouTube for like a year now. I feel like I'm going to give back to the community. Coaching is what changed my life, and I really hope I can change your life with it as well. It's my claim to fame 100% is coaching, because it's having someone who knows what's going on, holding you by the hand and teaching you and showing you what you're doing wrong. I've taught guys how to beat match in one single session. So if you want to make this real, you want to make this happen right now, I really recommend you go grab this. Coupon code is birthday. Coaching packages right at the top. I'll put the link in the description as well, but the coupon code is birthday. I promise you I can teach you how to beat match in one single session. I guess that's a money back guarantee as well. So I'll put it out there. If you want to make this happen, go right now, go purchase this, and I will teach you within one session or your money back how to beat match. 50% off as well, just for the next week. So anyone watching this video later, I'm sorry, but it is so worth it. But that's all I'm gonna say on sync. After that, like, I use sync every single night. The Rev 7 I feel was built for sync because they've actually got rid of, back in the day there was always a dimple at the 0, so you knew when you were at 0 on the tempo fader. They've gotten rid of that and they're kind of pushing a lot of people towards sync for a more seamless mixing experience. I sync for like pretty well every night now just because I'm too lazy to move the tempo fader. Apart from that, all you're doing is matching the BPM. There's a time and a place. You can change those settings here, so I will leave this up to you. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not. I'm just telling you it's going to make your job a lot more difficult if you don't learn. Next up, we just got our audio here. For stuff like this, make audio available for other applications. If you have a Pioneer mixer, a lot of other mixers, when you plug it in, it just becomes a sound card. Pioneers, for some reason, don't do that, so you need to do this whole virtual audio cable thing to be able to stream. It's not very difficult. I'm pretty sure I have a video on this as well. If you guys have any questions about this, drop a comment and I will respond to it, because it wasn't too hard, but it is a little confusing to set up. Other than that, you got your USB latency size. You always want to have this as low as possible, but this is a Windows computer and I beat this down. If you want to be a professional and you're making money from DJing, you want to get a MacBook. But at home, I just use Windows all day, so it doesn't matter to me. But you want to have your latency as low as possible without your audio starting to glitch out. That's a really important setting. If you're just starting, don't worry about it, doesn't matter. In the future though, this is something you're going to need to know and learn about. Apart from that, in the library tab, I have this custom crate columns. It's just being able to arrange your crates custom. Like if you have different ways that you want different crates to pop up, you just want this enabled. If not, they all follow the same structure. This is stuff that you'll learn as you go. Streaming services, if you're streaming, you got to have this here. I don't stream, so I should turn that off. I've heard play count is something that will use up a lot of resources. I've never had an issue, I don't know. But I've heard this is something that will use resources, so if you're having trouble with that as well, just turn that off. It might help out. Mixer, this here, crossfader curve. If you want to scratch, you want your crossfader curve on fast. You want it as small, as minimum as possible, where your crossfader will pick up the sound. If you're just mixing, you can use a crossfader to just, as you would think, like crossfade. But really, the crossfader was made for scratch DJs to cut. So if you're scratching or want to learn how to scratch, this right here, so important. Make sure your crossfader is on fast. In here, we just got Serato effects, but I got a Pioneer, so I don't use Serato effects. And then you just got expansion packs. Sampler, make sure your sampler is turned on. I'll have a link for free sound effects for you guys, so hold on for that. Serato playlist, pitch and time. Definitely have pitch and time on. Super important. This is something that I think makes Serato so much better than everything else. Pitch and time, so good. And the rest are just, if you've bought these expansion packs, you'll have them. If not, you don't need them. And that should be it for the settings. Now we're in Serato. You want your sound effects. We all want sound effects. You're gonna come up here. This is your sampler. You're gonna have your hotkey on your controller, so make sure you know how to get to your sampler in your controller. There is hotkeys on your keyboard: Z, X, C, V, B, M, N. So the whole bottom row of your keyboard are all your sound effects. But anyways, to load them, you're going to come up here, you're going to hit this button, and then you're going to drop your sound effects in here. You got multiple banks. I don't ever use more than one sound effect bank. I don't think I need more than that. But realistically, you could have like 8 different horns, or 8 different, like the Toro horns, or you could have 8 different pull-ups, or kind of whatever you want to do here. If you're someone who loves sound effects, feel free to load them all up. But there is something to say about people who use too many sound effects, where it's kind of ridiculous and stupid, but there is like a very tasteful way to use sound effects. You don't want to be slamming them all the time, but you do want to use them. They are flavor, they are fun. I use mine all of the time, if you know about me. If you guys need sound effects, I'm gonna put a link in the description for free sound effects, so make sure you go grab those right away. And then beside that, you have your effects plugin. This is where you have all of your Serato sound effects. So if you're using Serato sound effects, or if you don't have sound effects, you can add them in here. So this is a low pass filter. Let's pick a track. So this is like, just like, you probably have this on your actual physical controller. You might have a filter knob. This is doing the exact same job, but you could come in here, pick, I don't know, epic reverb. Let's try this. So you're doing like a reverb out, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You got your breaker. I got no sound here. Ooh-wee. So what you saw there at the start of that video, I don't know if you caught that, I wasn't getting any sound because that effect was turned on. So what I was talking about in your settings over here, this one right here, turn off effects, that's gonna turn that off when you load a track. Super important. You just saw me mess up with that. This is something that might really mess you up when you're live in the mix. I would say probably just turn this on just to be safe, because if you don't know how to turn this off, you're gonna be freaking out. That's a little pro tip for you. I'm not gonna go through all of these sound effects, but pretty well you can just add these effects onto either one of these channels, or if you're 4-deck mixing, you can use it on any of the decks right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put them on any of them. But here you got sound effects, so don't think you don't have effects. You got them. And then right beside that, you got recording. If you want to record your sets, you got this. Beside that, you got the quantize button. So if you want to be quantizing, or like you're coming through here and adding in cue points, you don't want to add the cue point like right here. You want it to always add on here. So if I added a cue point and I wasn't on target, boom, it's on target now. So quantize is pretty good, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You might want to leave quantize on, because it's always going to do the best thing for you that it can. But if the beat grid's all messed up, then it's not going to do it properly for you. So there are pitfalls. I really recommend you figure out what you're doing here. And then next up, this is all your hot cues here. So you can fill this up wherever you want. Like right here, we got it at the start of the track. I just added this at like the start of, this would be my 8 bars. I've definitely talked to you guys about intro edits. This is an 8-bar intro edit right at bar number 9. Do you even miss me at all? The track starts. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch one of my previous videos that will explain this to you in detail. This is super, super, super important. Like one of the most important things ever. Then after that, you could come over here to the chorus. Sometimes you'll play the first verse. Maybe you just want to jump into the chorus. So I would come here, put my 4th one. So I'd be playing 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, let's go. So that's just a way to kind of advance your mixes, a different way to mix. Maybe you just want to like do drops. There's so many different things that you can do, different ways that you can play. Feel free to really learn your style, learn how you want to play, and know that you got a lot of hacks here to help you out. And then I guess just running down here, we got stems. I don't need to go over stems. Everyone knows about that. We got Serato flip, and then we got save loops. So you can pretty well, like if you got a loop that you want to use all of the time, you could save it in here. You can have it engage if you want to. Every time you play that song, it's going to engage if you want it to. I'm not going to go over these. Very straightforward. I have lots of other videos on them. So apart from that, we should be good. And that covers the whole top half of the screen. So I think everything here should be good. This is just like a little pitch bend, but I wouldn't recommend pitch bending in the program. It's good to know how to do this, because if your controller ever broke or something, I can still kill a party within Serato. I could DJ on my laptop if I had to. Like, I don't ever want that to happen, but I could still finish the party if for some reason my controller just blew up. Knock on wood, like I hope that never happens, but if something ever happened, I was still able to rock the party because I know how. I have the skills which transfers across everything. Like once you learn how to beat match on one thing, you can beat match on this, you can beat match on CDJs, you can beat match on all-in-ones, you can beat match on a computer, you can beat match on anything. Like once you understand the skill and learn the skill, it can never be taken away from you. So remember that. Really, really treat that with respect. And something that I like to say here is if somebody's not willing to put in 10 hours to learn how to beat match, you're never going to become a DJ. You may as well quit right now because you need to be spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours practicing and grinding to make this real. If you're not willing to put in the time, it's never gonna get there, so you may as well just quit right now. And that's my one disclaimer. Sorry. After that, we just got our crates here. So you wanna start really building your library, building your crates. This crate right here that I'm checking from is like, this is my ender track. So at the end of the night, when I want to drop something weird and crazy, that's just what this crate is about. I got different crates for different situations. I got crates for like Queen's Main Room, which is like a very urban hip hop club. It's not something that I really play that often, but it's like the big room club, heavy dance hall, heavy Afro beats and stuff. For me to feel like I can just walk in there and kill it is because I've put so much time and prep. Even though this isn't a genre that I play all of the time, this isn't my like go-to, I can still go in there and kill it. I can kill the party because I have the skills and I know that I've put the time in. So when I played that party, like look how many of these songs that I did play. I played like almost everything. All of the music that I prepped got played. So it's really important to prep and spend the time. Like this goes back to what I was just saying. If you're not willing to put in the time, you're never gonna get there. Like I had to spend a good 10 hours just prepping the music for one night. Even though I know how to DJ and I feel like I could have done it without that, I wanted to go in there and kill it. I wanted to crush it. So I spent the time, I prepared, and it just made it so much easier. I'm never stressing at gigs. I'm well prepared. I have sets already built out where I never feel like I'm gonna like shit the bed. I'm always prepared, always confident. And when you're confident in your skills, it makes it so much easier to know that you're gonna kill it, for you to interact with the crowd, to say, what's up, y'all? I'm here. Drop your name on that drop, that sound effect, and know that you're out there crushing it. So this is my advice to you. Really spend the time, figure out, like, understand where you're playing, what they want to hear, and then build your crates around that. Never, I'm telling you, never build crates around what you want to hear. Never build a set around what you want to hear unless it's just you in your bedroom playing on Mixcloud. That's it. Do not spend time. Do not think that everyone has the same taste you have, that remix you found on SoundCloud is going to be hype. Never, ever, ever. This is actually one of the hardest lessons that I really had to kind of understand before I started getting good, like becoming the DJ that I wanted to be. I used to always play the stuff that I thought everyone wanted to hear. No. It's the biggest lie that the DJ world has ever convinced you of. We do not play what we want to hear. We play what the crowd wants to hear, what that room wants to hear. So do your research. Go meet up with the DJ who's there right now. Go be boys with him. Go hang out for a few weeks before you ever think that you're capable of going in there and crushing it. You need to shadow other DJs. You need to understand what is out there, what people are playing, and what works, most especially. Because like what works where I'm from is probably not what works where you're from. Almost 99% sure like what works in Toronto is not what's working in Atlanta. And I know that for a fact because I got lots of students who are from all over United States. Like what I'm running is not what they're playing. So you need to know in your area what's hype and what the people want. Like not what you want, not what you think is hype. What do the people want? And then you give it to them. That's it. And then from here, it's just putting that music, all of the music that you get, putting them into sets. Or crates and sets. This is a set that I just put together. Feel free to go check it out. Let me know how it was. I made a video on YouTube. It's just like a Ludacris set. Ludacris came to perform last weekend. Definitely one of my top 10. Like if you ever get the chance to see Ludacris, he is a true professional. There's lots of artists out there that let me down, but Ludacris was not one of them. He absolutely killed it. He was true to himself, like true as an artist. He was so good, and I'm so glad that I spent the time to make this set because I love Ludacris, man. It was crazy when I'm like building this. I couldn't believe how many hits he had. This is how many tracks I had for my first like iteration of it, but I knew that I could not make a 10-minute video with that many songs. So I had to cut it down to this many songs. This is how this is my process on how I create a mix. I'll just dump a bunch of stuff into a folder, drop it all in there, there and then go from there. I knew I had to break this down. So I started going like, what was his biggest hit? What can I delete from here? I didn't want to delete any, but I eventually got here. And then from here, what do you do next? You want to arrange everything in some kind of form. So as I was talking about with the settings over here, custom crate columns, this is what I was talking about. Each one of these crates can have a different customization. So if you want to customize by BPM or by key, like if you want to arrange everything by key and then by BPM, this is gonna do the best it can to arrange everything in key first and then by BPM. I would really recommend always first off, arrange by BPM, whether it's up or down. You want a way to be able to work through your list. For me, I always have it BPM at the bottom and I go up. It doesn't mean you have to work that way. It doesn't mean you have to play that way. It's just like one of the best ways to organize your music. From almost every DJ that I know does it the same way. There must be a reason we all do it the same way. And then from there, I'll organize by key. A lot of times, like, key is always secondary. I always say, like, playing the better song next is way more important than playing the song with the right key next. Key is important. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, but if you don't know how to beat match yet, don't forget that a key even exists. Like, throw that out of your mind. Forget about it. Forget about keys. Just worry about beat matching. And then from here, now I kind of got a set together. So what I did from here was I just took it over into Serato. I turned my controller on, which I'm going to show you guys right now. I'm going to show you guys a few different kind of mixing tips. I'm going to show you guys effects in action, samples in action, and then we're gonna get up out of here. I probably can't play too much music because of copyright, but I'll show you a few very quick little mixes that you guys can do, blends, and yeah. So I will see you in 1 second. All right, so now we're in here. We got our set loaded up. We've prepped a bunch of tracks. What comes next? It's just kind of putting it all together now and building your set, playing it the way you want to. So make sure you go check out the Ludacris set. In there, I did a lot of mixes like this. I would just kind of drop tracks in. We were talking about cue points before, right? So I set all of my cue points. And I have everything set to -8 because I don't want to get hit up for copyright. I might have to remove the music too. So let's all cross our fingers that this is going to work. Right away, I set all of my cue points to points where the track kind of starts and builds in. As you'll see here, this one was All I Do Is Win. I set it right to where DJ Khaled jumps in. And this was my second track. So for my first track that I had, it was a pre-blend mix because I'm just trying to save time. I'm trying to make it very impactful. Sometimes it's what we got to do. We're DJs, man. We just got to make it happen. So my first track, it starts off right in the track, but then my second cue point is where it pops off. I like it when I see you do it better than I've ever seen it done before. Because I'm trying to save as much time as possible. So I let that run for like a few bars and then I drop this track in. I use this reverb, right? So we were talking about reverb. We were talking about using effects. This is how I mix this. What about Imagine did not even in her right mind? DJ Khaled. So we're just echoing it out, filtering it, and dropping the next track in. Kind of seamless. I don't know. Some people might say it wasn't perfect, but it worked. And guess what? When you're out there DJing in real life, like nobody notices at all. You can kind of, unless you're really butchering it, the only other critics that you're going to have are the other DJs who are not booked at that place sitting there hating on you. There's nobody in the audience who's like, ah, man, that guy kind of messed up that play, man. No, when you're mixing, you just keep it moving. Like even if you made a massive mistake, you just keep it moving, get rid of it. And even better, like if you got cue points set up, if your mix is kind of messing up along the way, just hit that cue point, jump forward in the track, get into the song and get rid of it and just keep it moving. Like I mess up every single night. Don't worry. Like, let people hate on you. You're the guy who's booked. You're the guy who's playing there. Let everyone hate on you as much as they want. It's never going to matter. And haters are just like, they're your biggest fans. So say, what's up, hater? Hi, hater. And then apart from that, we talked about stems. Stems are also another amazing way to be blending. Stems, I love stems. You're playing a track and then you're gonna drop into the acapella, and because it's beat matched, you're gonna be making remixes on the fly like this one.
Cadillac grills, Cadillac bills. Check out the oil my Cadillac spills. Matter of fact, candy paint Cadillac's kill. So check out the hose my Cadillac bills.
And then we're echoing it out again, playing around. I'm telling you guys, like, DJing can be fun. Do not let it stress you out. I think I hit the sync button here at some point, but that's just to match the BPMs. Really work on learning how to beat match. This is my most solid advice that I could ever give you. It's so important to understand how to beat match, because it's everything. Once you learn how to beat match, you're gonna have a million skills. You're gonna know how to remix. You're gonna know how to do these stem mixes. You're gonna know how to drop tracks in. All because you spent the time to learn how to beat match. If you don't know how, this is my last invitation. 50% off coaching until the 22nd. It's my birthday. I've been on YouTube for like a year now. I just want to give back because coaching is what changed my life. It's my claim to fame. It's what allowed me to become this guy that you see here right now. Not the guy who was stuck in my dead-end job, depressed, upset because my life was going nowhere. No, this guy who is now DJing for his life, running a very successful business, doing my thing, playing on YouTube. Like, this is my life now, all because I decided to invest in myself, go get myself a business coach, and learn from the greatest how to do it. And anyone can do it. Anyone can do it who is willing to invest in themselves and go all in. For the dabblers, the people who are like, maybe I'll learn, maybe I'm just going to hit sync for the rest of my life and never learn how to do anything. Yeah, those guys will probably never make it because they never went all in on themselves. So make sure you go to the djconnect.com. Coaching packages at the top. Coupon code is birthday. 50% off until the 22nd. I really hope I see you there. I hope that you can make your DJ dreams reality. I did, and you can too. So I will see you on the next one. Let's go.